Good morning, everybody. Morning. Hey, I found a use for my new phone. My old phone. I just gonna keep it charged, keep it hooked up to internet, and I'm sorry. I wasn't even putting you on. I was showing you my chest. I'm sorry. But look, this is a perfect example of how I get up in the morning, man. It's like music is a strong part of my life, man, and that's what keeps me moving, man. And I put memories that I've had, the good memories, in with those songs. But this is one that really hit the bomb. Listen to this.
Keep my hands on myself. Pick up dust them off, put them back up on the shelf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Girl isn't me. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a new and kid style. I've been doing it since 1986 now.
There we go. Anyway, a lot of people think I'm a hoarder. I'm not a hoarder, man. I just got a lot of stuff and I don't want to get rid of it. This ain't hoarding. Look at this. This is, you blow the dust off this stuff. This is a Nintendo 64. This is an Atari. This is a PlayStation. Yeah, it's been taped up and held together, but it still works. Those are all the cartridges to the... Look, here's another Nintendo 64, man. Those are the days, huh? That's what I grew up on, and I kept them all these years, man. Look at this. Look at this. What's this one? That's another Nintendo 64. I got 3 of them that work in here. Huh, phone. Huh. Oh, yeah, the good old BlackBerry. Huh. I wonder if I turn that thing on and use it on the internet. That's pretty cool. I wonder if it flips. See if it flips. It does something. See if I can figure it out. The screen feels like it moves. Like it flips or something. Like it flips up. Huh. It feels like it comes up. Look at it. I don't want to break it. Maybe it turns. Yeah, I wish I could get this thing open. Huh. Look at it. See it? I don't want to break it, man. It's got a keyboard under there. It's a BlackBerry. Huh. I'm going to take that inside. I didn't even know I had that. And that's a perfect example out there. Let's get back to business and go through some more boxes, see what happens today. I've been feeling that since I'm at work. I'll call you later. Let me know if you're getting this message. I need to reply to that. That's probably that dude on the 72 Chevy he wants to give me. But anyway, yeah, that's what it's all about, man. I don't get rid of nothing. I guess you could call me a hoarder, or you could just call me a sentimental type of a guy that hangs on to everything, man. And especially if it still works or don't work, you might can fix it. And got all these tapes and cartridges, man. What's this? Glover. What does it say? Surgeon PBO Boeing. Something. Mario World. Oh, I remember Mario World. I love that. And I love y'all love Paper Mario. I love Paper Mario too. Let's see if it's in here. Mario Party 3. Pilot Wings. Pokemon Snap. Ooh, look, an old wallet. It says Def Leppard on it. That used to be mine back in the way old days. Def Leppard. Man, I was a pyromania fool. Or foolin'. Yeah, or rise up, gather round, rock this place to the ground, burn out. Watch the night go up in smoke. Rock on, rock on. Yeah, that's Mario Party 3. Anyway, listen to this bird, listen to this bird. Were you hollering Phoenix, Mom? Yeah, that place is packed. We got a lot of boxes to go through, man. But look, it's just stuff that's mixed in that we have duplicates of. Some of it's shampoo, some of it's clothes, some of it's... honey, what all do we have in these boxes? Let me turn this TV off. What do we have all in these boxes, baby? If people want to know on YouTube, what we got in all these boxes?
Memories.
Memories.
All my memories.
Memories. See, they're important. Those are memories in there. Yes, ma'am. How you doing, Phoenix? Say good morning. Make him talk, honey.
No.
I'm sorry you're not in a good mood, baby, but look, you should be the happiest girl alive. You should, because you got a husband that loves you, and you got this bird that loves you. This bird here, he'll holler, Mom, 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 Mom! And he learned that from the kids waking up in the morning when they were little babies, huh, Phoenix? Yeah, yeah. He won't talk for me because he don't like me. But he'll come on my arm sometimes and be nice to me. But as far as me loving on him and petting on him, he ain't got time for that. He ain't got time for that. Huh, Phoenix?
No way.
Anyway, I guess I'll cut the clip and let it go for now. But we got a lot of work to do, man. And the wife, she's wore out, man. She works hard all week, and then she wants to come in here and relax. And she comes home, and I'm in 5th gear taking off. You can show the back of your head. She's got the morning hairdo. She doesn't want, hey, it's okay. Your back looks fine. I think you look fine. I don't know what your problem is. And then she's got me. You want to watch your TV? You want me to shut the heck up, huh? All right, I'll shut up and let you watch your TV. Here's your remote, baby. Here's your remote. Yeah, the place is just, you know, we just got it everywhere in here, you know. We're going to have to go through it little at a time. Let me walk out here and so I ain't disturbing my wife. I was supposed to make biscuits and gravy for everybody, honey. I guess I'll do it. She says I'm too slow. Anyway, peace! Limpster out just for a little while. Whoa. I tell you, I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy. You know why the Limpster is so happy right now? I'll show you why the Limpster is so happy. To the guy that, this is to Red Montgomery, man. Hey, man, thank you for leaving my dogs in another box. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate it. I know you took the box because it had Bud printed on the top of it, so you might want to stash your buds in at the time or whatever. But this one right here, this is Bud. Old Bud, good old Bud. And this one right here, I can tell that it's been packaged in a later date because it's got a Ziploc baggie. The other one didn't have a Ziploc on it. This one's Booger. Booger! I used to call him Booger because he was a booger. He was always a pain in my nose, man, because he when I was a puppy, he never quit crapping, man. It's like when he walked, it fell out, and I had to walk behind him with a piece of paper. I couldn't put him off the bed on the floor in the mornings. I had to take him directly out of the bed and put him straight outside. But anyway, hey, I'll tell you a little story about Bud. Good old Bud. Anyway, yeah, pull up a chair, huh? But this is a good story. And before I share this story, I want to tell everybody that, oh no, I got to plug my phone in. Hold on. Oh, rolling. Okay, good deal. Anyway, Bud, he was a dog that I raised on rough ends and heating and air conditioning, and he would go to the frame houses with me. You know, when they're building them up and you can see straight through them, that's when I was in there. And they barely getting the walls up, putting the duck in the attic. And Bud was the go-to dog. I mean, Bud was the friend. I mean, Bud sometimes would, you know, me and them, I'll tell you this story. I got a lot of stories about Bud. I'm going to tell you 2 or 3 of them. This is his, Bud, this moment's for you. This Bud's for you, baby. I love you. I miss you. Rest in peace. But, man, I miss that dog. I'm so glad that I got his ashes back, man. I love you, buddy. Man. So, anyway, Bud, he was the go-to guy, man. And one day I was standing up in the rafters and I was just dripping. And you never stand over anybody that's dripping because you can actually see a puddle gathering underneath you on the concrete is how bad you're sweating. So you never hung over anybody while they were sweating. So I was hanging back waiting for somebody to hand me something in the attic. And Bud's over here with his bottle. off and around the plumber's tools. He's trying to sweat some copper in, you know, in the bathroom, because we put our unit right above the bathroom so we could drain it into the drain pipes in the lavatory. You know, you put them under the sink. In Texas, you stick them right under the bathroom sink. Anyway, so he says, he's always throwing this bottle out, man, and Bud would bring the bottle back. He says, man, will you just please, man, tell this dog to stop? And so I hopped out of the rafters, you know, because you just got a little trick you do, man. Sometimes I would flip upside down, do a flip, and come down in the attic. By holding on, I'd hold on to the rafter on my butt, and I would rock backwards, slide, you know, make sure I didn't hit my head on the rafter behind me. And as soon as I got past that part, I would flip out, pow! And I flipped out and landed right next to him, and I threw the bottle for Bud, and Bud, he brought it back, and he said, see, he brings it back. I said, well, yeah, he's a good dog, man. And I took the bottle, and I went like this, and set it up, and old Bud sat down. He said, why'd you tell me that, man? I said, because I was going to see how long it took you before you'd ask me to tell him to stop. Here's another one. Here's another one with Bud. Bud wore a bandana around his neck. And Bud also got his name because one day in the afternoon when we were sitting in there, we would crack beers open in the afternoon. And I know. Hey, that's just the way it went on this job site. I'm fixing to tell you the story, and these are the things that I did, and now I'm doing more. And anyway, we'd crack some beer open, and old Bud would be sitting there, and somebody said, man, let's name him Bud. And I said, man, I'm not naming him Bud just because he drinks beer. Budweiser beer, you're gonna bull crap, man. He said, no, watch. And he stuck the Budweiser in a roof jack. We turned the roof jack upside down, we filled the Budweiser in it, and then we put and I know y'all are thinking I'm nuts, and yeah, I was nuts, and I'll finish the story. But anyway, then we had put the Coors beer in his Frisbee. Well, he'd take a little lick out of the Frisbee because that's what we always fed him water in, and whatever we wanted, he would drink out of his Frisbee. And so we would feed him in that, and nope, he didn't like it. He went straight for the roof jack and finished it, and his tail end was walking around and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we were just, and I know, hey, I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying this is what happened in my past, man. So don't shame me. Please don't get on to me, because now I would never do that. I would never do that, and this is why. Because Bud died of kidney failure at 13 years old. And there's lots of contractors standing around me at the time, because I subcontract. They were with my heart and soul, because I was carrying around that box with me after he died. And they said, man, you gave him a good 13 years of life, man. You need to let that dog go and leave him at home in that box, man. I go, well, I'm just trying to get used to not being around him. So I'd carry that box with me everywhere for a long time. But Bud was good old Bud. I'd holler at him like that, and he'd come to me, and I'd be in the rafters, and I'd say, "Oh, good Bud." And what we did was we would take our stash and put it in Bud's bandana, and then I would holler out, "Safety meeting!" and everybody would come down and come to me, man. I'd reach off in there, and in Bud's bandana, pull out one, light it up, and smoke that down, and get back to work. And I did that, man, because of the safety thing. I was just scared I was going to get pulled over or something, being stuck in that loser life of mine. I didn't want to get stuck up on the road and somebody find some pot on me. So I hid it in Bud's bandana. I figured, hey, man, if the drug dog growls at Bud, they're just going to think that, or barks at Bud, they're just going to think that he's another dog barking at another dog. So, and I never got pulled over with it or nothing. It was a good thing for me. They wouldn't have found it anyway. But yeah, oh Bud, ready to go. I'd always say, ready to go in the morning. He would go, oh, I'm ready, Daddy. And he would follow me. I didn't ever have to chain him up or nothing. He even actually watched my tools sometimes. He would, one day the contractor pulled up and he told me, he said, man, you're going to have to start leaving a little earlier than the rest of the fellows at lunchtime. And I go, why? He says, because you're making it back a little late, and all the contractors are out here complaining and griping because your dog won't let him in the house. I used to nail a bag of potato chips up on the rafter, and I would feed him a couple of them, and then I would chain him up at first, and then after a while I could just nail the potato chip bag to the rafters, and he knew that was his. He knew that was his. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, so another time, roofer guy comes up over there. I think his name was Pedro. I love you, Pedro. If you're watching this video, I love you, man. I miss you. But Pedro, he came up to me and says, hey, man, he says, I need you to come over here to your stuff so I can get my drill. I said, well, go get it, bro. He says, I can. It's on top of your toolbox. I said, well, go get it. He says, no, come here. Come here. And I said, man, I hopped out of the rafters. I was ticked off a little bit, irritated because I was having to stop what I was doing. I walked over there, and Bud's sitting by my tools. you know. And he says, I said, well, go ahead and get it. And he goes to reach for the drill, and Bud went, I said, Bud, that's not mine, that's his. Well, a dog, he can only go so far with his knowledge. He thought that was my drill. He wasn't going to let no one take Daddy's drill. I love that dog. When that dog passed, he was 13 years old, and I was feeding him something in a syringe the vet gave me to it was a white liquid stuff, and it was supposed to rejuvenate his kidneys. And he was living, and I took him back for about he was living for 2 weeks, and the color in his gums were changing back to normal and stuff. The guy says, I'm so proud of you, man. I didn't figure this dog would last this long. I figured he'd already be gone. You're doing something right. Well, I went home, and that night, man, I went to go feed him a hot dog. He didn't want to eat it. He wanted out to go pee, and I let him out, and I got busy doing something, because usually he'll scratch and howl and let me know he's ready to come back in. It'd been about an hour or two, and it was very cold outside. It was like freezing cold weather. And he went out there and laid down on the front porch, and he passed, man. I couldn't go near him. I couldn't even look at him. I tried to look at him and touch him, and I couldn't. It just gave me the inside my soul. And I talked to my wife, and she says, I'm going to take care of this one for you. And that was the first one I ever had cremated. She hired a cremation service to come around, paid him top dollar money, told him to take care of it and put him in a box for me. And I was a stupid blaming fool for months, man. I ran around with that box like a dad-burned idiot. But finally I had to let him go. And then Booger, I'll share the story with Booger later on, man. Booger's a whole nother dog, a whole nother story, and he was meaner than hell, man. He was meaner than hell because, and I'll give you a sneak peek, he was meaner than hell because when he was a puppy, he was in the backyard, and we lived right by the school, and there's kids were poking him through the knot hole in the fence. They call him up the knot hole, and they'd stick him in his eye. So yeah, I guess I could share it, man. So anyway, I'll go ahead and share it on this one. Anyway, Booger would start going off and stuff, and I started catching the guy. I was teasing him. And then one day, I was out working on my panel van truck, my Frito-Lay truck, where I was doing subcontracting with. I was changing the motor out in it, and I just got it out there. I walk in the house, and Booger's over in the corner going, tearing my blinds up and stuff, and I say, stop it. And I made him calm down and sit, and he sat. So I went to go out the door and go take a test run in my truck that I just stabbed the motor in, and my wife runs to open the door and says, supper time, and Booger ran out the door and made a beeline in the street, and he met up with a guy, and he latched onto his leg, and the animal control came around and everything, and that kid said, I looked at the kid and I said, why would he want to bite you, man? Why would he want to bite you? And he says, I'm sorry, man. He says, I was one of the kids that was poking at him with a stick, man. And I said, well, see there, dude, you've teased him long enough. Now he got a hold of you. And the animal control people had the galls to sit there and listen to that story, and they still made me take him in. I guess because he wasn't up to date on his shots. But I had to update his shots, and then they made me pay $700 to have him quarantined and judge his level of anger or whatever, to see if he was a good dog or a bad dog. And they called me back about a week later. They said, you got a sweet pit bull, man. He's so nice and gentle, but he is kind of edgy. And I said, yeah, no. He said, yeah, we understand. We got the call. We record everything when an incident happens. And he was just taking up for himself and trying to bite the person that had been poking him through the fence all those days. You know what I'm saying? Sad situation. I never could trust Booger from then on, man. He would if he ever got loose, he would shoot out the door, and I'd have to chase him down, run him down, and he would always find a stray or some other dog that wasn't chained up or tied up at the time. And it was funny how Booger was, because he would sit down beside that dog, and he would be going like, here's the dog right here, and here's Bud. I'm Bud. And he would be wagging his tail, and this other dog just sitting there, and they're smelling each other, getting acquainted. And then as I started approaching Booger, I'm sorry, did I say Bud? I meant Booger. And as I started approaching Booger to get him, he would look at that other dog like, yeah, that's my master there, buddy. And when he gets over here, I'm going to rip your butt a new one. And I would actually get close to Booger, and he would start, and I'd have to take the breaking stick and break him off the dog, and then put him back in my house. The rest of his life, after those children screwed with his head, I couldn't trust him around nobody. I couldn't trust him around dogs. I couldn't trust him around nobody. That dog lived the rest of his life in my bedroom. The rest of his life. He never seen daylight just to go out there and potty and then come back in the house, because he was a digger and he liked to dig under the fence, and electric lines didn't make a daggum. You know them electric fence lines you run around your fence? He knew that he could just dart right through the electric line and make it and be okay. He knew that once he got zapped once, he was a smart enough dog to know that. So that's a perfect example of where you go with your pit bull. It can cause you, if you don't really pay attention to his surroundings and what he's being raised in and observe closely, he will turn into just a bad dog for you. And he did. And so whenever he died, it took me another year to get old Toothless, the one I have now, and that dog is so gentle because I monitor every move he makes, whatever he comes in contact with. I teach him on it, I train him on it. I spend 24 hours a day training that dog, and I know where he's at 24 hours a day, because that's the responsibility you have to take when you have a pit bull. You have to take responsibility for it, and you got to teach it, you got to train it. I don't ever play the tug-of-war game with Toothless, because I don't want him knowing that he can lock his jaws. Bud knew how to lock his jaws. Booger knew how to lock his jaws. I did not want this one to learn how to lock his jaws, and I don't want him being mean. And we wrestle all the time, and I'll show you videos of, I've thought about shooting a video of us wrestling, and sometimes he gets out of hand. I have to tell him, hey, that hurt, bro, and he'll always lick on me. I'm sorry, I was a little too rough, Daddy. I was a little too rough. But anyway, I want to get off here and post this video out there and get busy with the rest of the day, fellas. That's the story of the dogs, man. I love dogs. They're a part of my life. And I'm glad that I can put their souls to rest in another box. And thank you, Red, for leaving both dogs out of their boxes. Good luck with the boxes. I hope you enjoy them. And thank you. I'm really happy that you really had the heart to leave my ashes, man. I really appreciate it. If that's all that you got, those pictures that you got and that boxes that you got, I'm fine with that, dude. That my wife not. She's hot, dude, about the situation. But I think if that just a little bit of stuff got taken from me, compared to all the other stuff that I have that's sentimental, and he not take my ashes, I would rather lose that. I really am pissed about them pictures, man, Red. I really am, dude. I really wish you wouldn't have. I don't know for sure if you took it. Maybe somebody you had hanging around took it. But that's why I wanted to get my stuff out of there immediately, and I wanted to have a key to it. Well, only wanted to have a key to it, and instead you had the key to it, and you would leave the shop and then leave them there, and then one thing led to another, and they jacked my crap, man. I mean, I guess it's if you lay with the dogs, you're going to get fleas type of situation, you know? And I had to learn that. I know I'm never going to trust anybody ever again with all my stuff in their place, man. I'll pay like a storage building and pay out the rear $135 a month and try to save a dime on that one, man. I got to make sure my stuff's secure. And Jennifer, I'm sorry, man. I just had to put this out there on YouTube, man. It keeps it real. Jennifer is a good friend of mine. She's married to Red, and she's praying every day that he sees the light, quits doing what he's doing, and can wake up and smell the coffee burning on the back burner. Red, you gotta let it go sometime or another, man. You can't hang on to it, bro. I know you thinking that it makes your life easier. It don't. It burns the candle at both ends, and it just causes more problems in the long run with yourself than it does help. You know, what you thinking you're doing for yourself is helping you, it's not. Anyways, see y'all later. Limster out. That's my logo. Limster out. I need a theme song to go with it. I'm gonna make me up a theme song. I'm gonna do it. I gotta dig deep and make these interesting videos more interesting with some subtitles or something. I don't know. Y'all give me some advice. Are my videos okay the way they are? Or do you want me to put a bunch of fancy trim and stars on it and subtitles and roll the credits and all this other, or you want me to just leave it the way it is and give it to you the raw way? You want it the high-tech way or the raw way? Catch y'all later, man. Y'all be good till next time.